Welcome to TSG's Wisdom of the Zodiac monthly classes. Today I'm going to present the lesson on Capricorn taken from Wisdom of the Zodiac, Volume 4, Chapter 7, titled Unfoldment. On page 79, I would like to read that introductory sentence that is very, very beautiful. The energy of Capricorn steadily invites the human being to unfold, to radiate light, and eventually to stand in the light of his true self. Seminal in this line, in this quote, is the idea that we have things that we have folded and covered inside of us, that there is something that is inherent in us that needs to be released, revealed, and that we have perhaps blankets, folds, maybe like a sheet of paper that is folded over who we truly are. And we have identified ourselves with that folded mechanism. And what is it that we have identified ourselves with? Throughout our entire life, our whole cultural and social process, our whole education process, makes us to become one with the society in which we live. So we identify ourselves with who we are as a man or woman, with a certain culture, a certain religion, a certain education, certain degrees, and certain business practices, and so on. So we've become folded into these habits of thought and habits of being that really prevent us from seeing who we truly are. What's also interesting is that we fold ourselves within these blankets of this one lifetime. And that is an important and crucial thing for us to discover as spiritual aspirants and disciples, that what we think we are is essentially what we are in this lifetime. What about all the lifetimes of wisdom that is contained inside of us, in our hearts, in our minds, in our experiences? Can we forget for one moment that we belong to one religion, one culture, one geographical region in the world, and consider the millions of lifetimes that we have spent perhaps in many places all over the globe, over and over again, with different experiences. And so we have this collected wisdom inside of us that is yearning to be released, to be unfolded, to be let out. So that is what this whole thing is about. And as you meditate on this concept of unfoldment during this full moon period, think about what is it that you have covered yourself with. What are your blankets? What are your folds that you are yearning, striving to remove and to release yourself from? On page 80, there are some very, very interesting statements. Full moon times are the times in which you open yourself to new energies and dare to receive them. That's interesting. Why do we dare to receive them? Because in order to change, we need the energy to make us change. We need that impetus of new energy that makes us want to change, want to remove the blankets that we are so comfortable with. These energies will not create pleasures and happiness within you. Now that's a surprise. They are not going to create pleasures and happiness within you. So sometimes we are uncomfortable when we are feeling a little bit strained, a little bit challenged. But this is saying that is a good thing. So when you're feeling a little strained, a little challenged, and you need to have more courage and endurance in your life, think that these are really, really good things that are coming to you, and that they are something that you need to look at in your life. That everything in our life cannot be just full of pleasures and happiness, that there are times that we need to struggle so that we can make a difference in our life. They must make you uncomfortable so that you confront yourself. This is so true. When we are so comfortable with our life, with the folds that we're living in, we don't want to change. And so when we are made uncomfortable through something that happens in our life, a crisis, a personal crisis or a family crisis, then we find out this is really something we need to look at. Sometimes people don't have major crises in their life until they age, and they have health or family crises or children crises, and they lose loved ones. That is when our mind and heart starts thinking, what am I doing? and what do I need to change inside of me. The spiritual life is a hard life. That's interesting too, because we think that spiritual life should be easy, should be fun, a bunch of sacred songs and meditation and prayer with people that you love, singing hallelujah in a church. These are pleasurable, but that's not the spiritual life. That is just the outside coat that we have covered ourselves with. Spiritual life is a hard life because it means to look at yourself in the mirror honestly and say, do I like what I see? What is it that I want to make my life into? This is the reason for the symbol of the mountain goat in Capricorn. So the symbol of Capricorn is the mountain goat who climbs up the mountain through rocks and bushes and steep inclines and goes to the top. So think of that symbol, that archetype of climbing to the mountaintop and what it takes. If you have ever climbed a mountain yourself, gone backpacking in the wilderness, or even watched videos or films about people who have seriously climbed high mountains in the world, you can see how much courage and endurance and daring it takes for the really serious climbs. And also on a small climb, for example, I have experienced in my life, when I go to a small mountain and start climbing or hiking, the first 15 or 20 minutes I'm engaged in myself. I'm thinking about home, the different things that are bothering me, and I don't even notice what's around me. But a serious climb takes more conscious effort. You have to be ready physically. You have to know that you're going up and then you have to come back down. You have to know what kind of supplies you need to take with you, what kind of backpack materials you need to take with you, what kind of food and emergency supplies you need with you. These are all very, very important. And also you need to have the kind of attitude of mental and emotional stamina that you need to take with you. And last but not least, consider when you're climbing a mountain, you can't be thinking about everything else except what you're doing. You have to be completely focused in what you're doing. You have to watch the rocks under your feet. You have to watch the animal life. You have to start smelling the fresh air, feeling the breeze, and really noticing what is around you. That is when you can be conscious and safe and make that climb. So this symbol of Capricorn being a mountain goat or climbing to the top of the mountain is very, very important. And something for you to think about during this month is, if you are going to climb the mountain of your life, what is it that you need to do? And if you consider what you need to do in terms of what you would do if you were climbing an actual physical mountain, it's the same thing. So the same preparation that you take to climb a mountain, the companions that you take with you, the kind of expert advice you take, even a GPS that you would take with you, these are all symbolic and representative in your spiritual life. The mountain goat climbs the mountains using the most narrow and difficult path. That's really interesting. So you're not going to be afraid of narrow and difficult and dangerous paths on the path of discipleship. You're going to understand them and how you are going to walk them. To climb to the mountaintop where your horizon is wider and the air is cleaner takes hard work. That's the truth. People who climb the highest, the most beautiful mountains are exhilarated when they go up. There is such a sense of accomplishment, and there's a reason for that. It needs endurance, daring, and courage. And that's very, very true. Endurance. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take. You know you want to get to the top, and you know what waits you at the top. So you will endure the difficulties of your journey, no matter what happens. You're going to be daring to take that climb and say, yes, I will do it. Yes, I am ready. And you're going to have the courage to stay with your convictions, and everything that comes on your path during your climb, you will be able to face when you have daring and courage. The spiritual path is not for chickens, writes Saraydarian in this book. That's really a cute quote. I like that. Those people who are chicken to face themselves and to break their prisons can never improve. That's a pretty harsh statement, but I feel that that is true. It has been true in my life, and I have found out that when I find a difficulty in my life, I have to find a way around it, and I cannot be imprisoned by it. If you depend on books, on teachers, on radio, television, artists, and movies, you will never advance. Now that is really, really a beautiful statement, which is one of self-reliance. You are going to rely only on yourself. At the end of the day, that person who is going to make that climb is only you. Nobody's going to carry you on their back. You might have companions on your climb, but when those companions drop away or they do their own stuff, you have to also carry your own weight. In fact, what's interesting is one day I was on a hike with several people, and one person kept talking and talking and talking and complaining about various things in life. And I had to say, you go ahead. I will fall behind a little bit, and so that I don't have to listen to that continuous talk. I found at that point that the companions that you choose on your path of climbing the mountain is very, very important, whether it's a physical mountain or it's a spiritual mountain. On a physical mountain, I knew some gentlemen who went for a hike, and they had several companions with them, and some of the companions were not fit for the climb, and it endangered everybody's life. So you see, even on the spiritual path, choose your companions wisely so that everybody carries their weight, and when there is an emergency, a time for extreme courage and endurance, you can rely on your friends and they can rely on you. So you have to be also a reliable person. Only in breaking these dependencies and facing yourself can you endure. That is so beautiful. At the end of the day, you have to depend on yourself, and you have to endure, and you have to rely on breaking all the blankets that are covering your life, and that you have found so comfortable. You have to remove them. Now, what does it take to do that? Of course, it takes courage, and you can't be a chicken. But here are some 4 points given in this chapter that I found very, very interesting. I will comment on each one briefly and give you an opportunity to think about it. The first one is that it takes sacrifice and service. That you clarify what are you serving, who you are serving, and everything that you are doing. Why should we cover ourselves by the blankets that society has imposed on us? So you have to ask yourself, why am I covering myself with all these blankets, with all these sheets? Why am I not daring to remove them? You have to sacrifice something that you are not to become who you are. This is a very important phrase and concept that is given to us in the spiritual teachings often and repeated often by Torkom and other great teachers. Sacrificial service. Know whom you are serving, why, and what are you willing to sacrifice. Second is, what does the unfoldment process look like? It is called in spiritual traditions initiation, the process of initiation. So as you are climbing that spiritual mountain, that first layer is a greater awareness of your physical environment, greater sensitivity to your physical environment and what is going on inside of you and around you. So just like a regular physical climbing, you have to be aware of your endurance, your stamina, when you need to rest and when you need to continue, of the dangers around you. This is the same thing in the spiritual area, that you learn about your physical environment, your physical tolerance level, what you need to do to take care of that in order to continue your process of climbing, which in spirituality is called initiation. So that first step is the physical climbing. The second one is a little broader. It includes physical and it goes into the emotional, so that you are then opening that climb to the emotional level. You are being aware of emotions, feelings, and inspirations coming from people around you, from life around you. You're tuned into the emotions. People who are not tuned into emotions are callous, are insensitive. They are people that we don't want to be with. They don't have any feelings except for themselves. So when you are going through that process of climbing, you are in the process of initiation, which is greater unfoldment to the new level. Then the third level is the initiation process into the mental. So you know what you are thinking, where your thoughts are coming from, where they are going, and what are they for. Not only that, but you are able to discern what other people are thinking and why, and you understand the subtleties in people's expressions and their writings. That takes a lot of work, a lot of thinking process, a lot of meditation. So that is the third level of initiation, and there are nine levels of initiation that are discussed in this chapter so beautifully. If you want to read more about initiation, I can recommend a book called Initiation, The Path of Living Service. And that in itself, the title, says a lot about that book and the process of initiation, that is expanded service. So the third point in the process of going through the climbing process of unfoldment is the trials that you are facing. We all face trials in our life, physical trials, emotional, mental, spiritual, otherworldly trials. These are real. That's why the life of a disciple is not for chickens, as Torquem says. They are going to take three things that you can focus on during this month, and they are courage, endurance, and daring. Those are the trials. You will have trials of endurance, of courage, and daring. How courageous are you? How daring are you to transform yourself to higher values? Can you stick to your values and take them up a notch? Are you willing to look at yourself in the mirror and find out who you truly are and who you are not, and unfold those corners? Those are the three things that are important for you in this process. And fourth, and this is such an interesting concept that I really never gave much thought to before. And he says the energy of Capricorn works in creativity. That's really interesting that we are given the advice to find something of creative expression in our life. Creative expression in this way means artistic, music, art, painting, crafts, any kind of creating beauty in your life, so important for your climb. Imagine if you're climbing a mountain, you hate every single step. Why would you do it? So what you are doing as you climb this mountain is creating beauty around you so that you can see. As you unfold, you initiate, you release the true being inside of you, you are actually creating beautiful, beautiful things to surround you, to give to other people. What's also interesting about the field of creativity for us to pursue is that creativity is a balancing factor in our life, that we are always intellectually or physically or emotionally inclined, and creating beauty through music, art, and such forms of creativity are really, really important to our life. If you are not able to create beauty in arts and music, for example, then participating in musical concerts, for example, going to museums, appreciating the art and the creativity of other people is also very, very important. Or you might find people who are struggling artists, struggling musicians, or who really need support, struggling dancers, and you give them that support. Dancing is part of the creativity that is also suggested for us. So these are the four things that are part of your process of climbing that you can take into consideration while you are making that climb to the mountaintop. So to summarize before we do our meditation, Capricorn energy gives you the energy to climb to the mountaintop. And it's beautiful if we remember those words of going to the mountaintop, seeing the face of the Lord, seeing the face of who you truly are. And when you come back, you are never afraid because you've been through it all. You know what it's like. You know what kind of courage is needed from you, what kind of endurance, what kind of stamina. You're a principled person and tried and true in your discipleship and on your path. You are someone who can be depended on. You are someone who's cooperative. You are someone who can be dependent to carry your load for yourself as well as other people. And that is how a world server comes into being. So this is a preparation for that greater sacrificial service that is part of our discipleship. Now we will do a meditation. And to get ready for meditation, sit up straight and put your back straight. This is called Transfiguration Meditation. And I will take us through it step by step and tell you what you need to do. You can visualize at any time that you feel you need to stop and go a little bit longer in your meditation. Do so, put your video on pause, continue with your meditation, and I always strongly suggest that you record your insights and your thoughts after this meditation. At the end I will say a mantra that you may repeat after me. So sit and relax, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. We will begin with a great invocation from the point of light within the mind of God. Let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love, of light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Keeping your eyes closed, visualize a beautiful mountaintop and sit there in serene quiet. Try to feel the environment in which you sit, the beautiful fresh air, the beauty of the mountaintop and surrounding areas. See that your physical, emotional, and mental bodies are melting away and nothing remains but a flame, which is you. Take a minute to let that take place. Now, after a few minutes, build a new physical body around the flame. Add a new emotional body the way you like. And build a beautiful mental body. Make these bodies pure and beautiful. Let your inner flame shine out. Shine out your light from the mountaintop. Imagine hundreds thousands of people doing the same, and all the lights sparkling from the mountaintops all over the world. Think what your next step is on the path of your spiritual evolution. Here you can take as long as you need to outline carefully what you want your next step to be, generally or for each of your life, physical, emotional, and mental, and spiritual life. What is it that needs to be your next step or steps? Maintain your focus of yourself as a radiating light. Combine all the lights on the mountaintops around the world and repeat after me. The sons of men are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate. Outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all men love. So our homework for the Capricorn full moon, the observation of the full moon, is to think of the archetype of a mountain goat climbing the highest mountains, and consider perhaps taking a mountain hike at this time, and ponder as you do that, what does it take to climb the mountain physically, climb the mountains emotionally and mentally? What kind of stamina and endurance and courage is needed for you as you're climbing to spiritually unfold? Remove the blankets that are covering who you are and slowly unfold and release who you truly are inside. I wish you a great journey. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next time.